ado, I'd like to go ahead and introduce our presenters from the Pinterest team today. So everyone, please give a warm welcome to our product specialist, Moira. And we have Enoch here from the business development team, our engineer, Adarsha, and product manager, Praneet. Thank you all so much for being here. We're so excited to connect the Pinterest team with the community. So I'll go ahead and start by handing it over to Enoch, who will be walking us through the Pinterest for WooCommerce extension presentation.
Perfect. Thank you, Jasmine. Hi everyone. My name is Enoch Lamb. My pronouns are he, him, and his, and I'm on the business development team here at Pinterest. Been here for about 2 years now, and I manage our relationship between WooCommerce and Pinterest. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Perfect. And y'all can see my screen, okay?
Enoch, we can't see your screen yet.
Not quite yet. All right. Sorry. You'd think I would get used to this by now, but apparently not.
No worries. Take your time.
Perfect.
There we are. We can see it now.
Perfect. Cool. So we're here to introduce to you the Pinterest for WooCommerce extension. This extension connects your WooCommerce store to Pinterest to help people discover your e-commerce shop. And then once you use this extension, you can then promote your products on Pinterest and measure the results of the actions that your customers are taking on your website. A fun fact on Pinterest is that 97% of our searches are unbranded. And so what that means is that instead of searching for a specific product like a blue Nike shoe, 97% of our searches are actually unbranded, and this gives more opportunities for merchants such as yourself to go ahead and be visible on Pinterest, and the ability to be shown and for Pinners to discover new products. So the benefits. So why use the Pinterest app? So there's two components to this that are the two main components. The first one is the Pinterest tag. It's automatically added with enhanced match. So this is installed on your website so you can track conversions and as well as detailed product data. This also helps with retargeting. And so you're able to build these customer lists based off of users and pinners who have visited your website. The second benefit here is that the entire product catalog gets uploaded to Pinterest. And so there's a ton of really cool organic services that are shown to pinners. I can touch on those in the next slide. And even if you've already installed the Pinterest tag, we do recommend still using this integration. The reason being is that on the back end, we're always enhancing the ability for tag and catalog. So there's a lot of things that are going on in behind the scenes that you may not see. Instead of using like a catalog, a feed catalog company, or hiring someone to install your Pinterest tag, the latest and the greatest will always be there, and so that's why we do recommend using this for every single one of your merchants. Cool. And so, as I touched on earlier, there's a good reason for using this Pinterest for WooCommerce extension. Once you upload your catalog and install your Pinterest tag, your content will actually appear across these different shopping services. These include style guides, shopping spotlights, shop from search, shop from pins, shop your board, and shopping list. And so these are all organic services or non-paid services that are being shown in the Pinterest app, and your products will be there as well. And then once, an additional benefit is that you'll be even more discoverable with different merchant solutions. So once you upload your catalog, a shop tab will appear on your business profile, and then you'll have the ability to do product tagging. And then in addition to that, we have a verified merchant program. This is a badge on your Pinterest business profile, and it also helps with distributing your products, as well as just showing showing pinners that you are a verified merchant. And so once once you meet our Pinterest merchant guidelines, and you've already uploaded your catalog and your tag, you'll be eligible for this part of the VMP program. And then there's always advertising. And so, yeah, once you've gotten your organic piece and your products are being shown, you'll be able to unlock advertising solutions as well. This includes shopping ads, dynamic retargeting, collection ads, as well as conversion insights, conversion analysis, slideshow for collections, and campaign budgets. Cool. So we'll go into some of the requirements right now. The first is that we don't recommend that you have any other Pinterest shopping integration connected. Excuse me. So the majority of you are on WooCommerce, but if you are thinking about migrating off of to another platform, or you're thinking about migrating to WooCommerce, we don't recommend you use two different integrations, as there will be technical difficulties there. The second is that we do require that you have a Pinterest business account. This is a free account that you can go to business.pinterest.com, sign up for one. You can also do it through the WooCommerce app, but this is a requirement. And then obviously you have to be a WooCommerce merchant, so you'll have to have that WooCommerce plugin installed in order to use this extension. Cool. So installing the app is pretty easy. It is located in the Pinterest, in the WooCommerce extension store. It's also available on WordPress.org. So those two places, if you get your extensions from WordPress.org or the WooCommerce store, extension store, it'll be there, and you can download it there. We'll also send a link after this session. And then once you've installed the app, very similar. I'm sure most of you are already very familiar with this. But essentially, what you'll do is you'll head over to marketing, the marketing tab, and then go to Pinterest, click Get Started, and then you'll just follow the rest of the prompts in the extension to upload your catalog, install the tag, as well as verify your domain. And Darsha will actually go through a walkthrough with that as well.
Hey, thank you. Maybe let's start the demo. So I'm going to give a demo walkthrough of how things are going to get set up. Okay. So can I go to the next screen?
Oh yeah, Enoch, can we go to the next slide, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so here's like a recorded demo. And the first portion of the demo is setting up your shop. Some of you might have already done this. This is the standard WooCommerce store. And I'm setting up my small business here, selling some clothes. So I'm starting to import my inventory. So in this process, I'm importing a bunch of products that's in a CSV format. This is bulk importing into WooCommerce. So this sets up the products on WooCommerce for my site. As you can see, the products are important. Some of it might have discounts. Some of it might be available in some territories, and there might be many differences between them. So here's our shop, and our shop is now live. So we can now buy a beanie on our store. Now we want to pull this all information into Pinterest so that our pinners can organically see this. Also, we can create campaigns. So we search for our plugin, which is called Pinterest for WooCommerce, and install it in WordPress. Once we install it, we need to activate the plugin. And once the plugin is activated, it sits under the marketing section in WordPress. So in marketing, and go to Pinterest. As you can see now, our plugin is loaded. We get started. At this step, we connect our account. Here, account is already connected, but otherwise it's asked permissions to connect your account. Then we claim your site so that it belongs to you. After that, here we are creating a new tag and associating an advertiser ID. If you already have a tag, it lets you choose the ones you have. And at this point, I skipped over a little bit, but it takes 24 hours, up to 24 hours for the entire catalog to be synced. In the background, WooCommerce plugin generated the feed and synced it with Pinterest. However, immediately tags are available. In here, we are now looking at the synced catalogs. So after a day, your catalogs are synced, and you can look at the catalog synced in the product groups. And if you now look at the product groups, now all our products, including the beanie, the one we wanted to sell on Pinterest, is now here. So this is an end-to-end quick demo. Um, at this point, at this point, a merchant can now start marketing campaign on Pinterest. Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. Much Adarsha and Enoch for this presentation and demo walkthrough. We hope that this helped give you some more insight on setting up WooCommerce and getting started. And now we're going to go ahead and transition over into our Q&A portion. So as I mentioned earlier, we're going to go ahead and get started with the questions that were pre-submitted in our Q&A form. And then once we get through those questions, feel free to add any additional questions you have in our Q&A chat, and we'll go ahead and try to answer those here in real time. But again, if we're not able to get to those during this event, we'll make sure to include them in our FAQ recap, which will be posted in the community. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start reading off some questions that we received, and we'll dive right into our Q&A. All right, so first question we received was, can I still use the manual Pinterest tag with the WooCommerce integration? And I'll hand it off to Moira for some answers.
Hey everyone, glad to be back. If you are in the Shopify event, thanks for coming to the WooCommerce event. If you're new, I'm the Commerce Integration Product Specialist. So I basically deal with anything third party that connects the catalog or the tag. So now to answer Jasmine's question. So if you already have a Pinterest tag, during the setup that Adarsha showed earlier, you can definitely select the Pinterest tag that you have.
Awesome, perfect. All right, so moving on to our next question. How can I delete or pause my WooCommerce Pinterest catalog ingestion?
So to delete or pause a catalog ingestion via WooCommerce, merchants can do this via uninstalling the app on WooCommerce.
Great, thanks, Moira. I see we have some questions coming in. Perfect. Oh, and yes, to answer your question, Kimberly, there will definitely be a replay posted in the PBC, so stay tuned. All right, so next question is, my catalog isn't approved. What should I do?
If you've already taken action to resolve the violation that resulted in disapproval, you could still appeal. Jasmine will send the link to our merchant guidelines. But yeah, you could just definitely reappeal and someone will reach back out to you if there's anything else that needs to be fixed on your feed.
Yeah, so we definitely recommend those merchant guidelines, which we'll be including in our recap post, as well as if you have any additional issues there, we recommend contacting our help center via submitting a ticket. All right, so moving on to our next question. Can I upload multiple catalogs?
So right now for the integration, it's not yet supported. However, if you've set up shipping zones via WooCommerce, we'll include the shipping zone in the shipping column of your catalog. But it's not yet automated. Something for the future.
Great. Okay. Thanks, Moy. And I'm going to go ahead and for the previous question, include the merchant guidelines here in the chat for anybody that is having issues with that. So here you go. All right. So next question here is, Can I use my uploaded products to run ads on Pinterest?
So right now you can't do this in the WooCommerce app because I know on Shopify we can run ads through that, but right now you can only do it in Ads Manager, Pinterest Ads Manager.
Thanks, Moy. All right, so our next question is, I don't want to use the rich pins feature. How can I opt out?
So within WooCommerce, there is a settings option wherein you can uncheck the rich bins option. But rich bins is always good for organic distribution. Just saying.
That's a good tip. Thanks, Moy. All right, next question we have here is, how will I know if the Pinterest plugin needs to be updated?
Okay, so within the WooCommerce dashboard, there's going to be an area, like a notification area, and also the updates page where you could enable your, um, wait, how do I word that? Your automatic updates for the plugin. So basically, you're going to get a notification when the plugin needs to be updated. So you need to keep an eye on that as much as possible. We want to make sure the plugin is up to date, or else you might see issues.
Got it. Do we have any advice on how often people should be checking for that update, Moira?
Not on the top of my head. Adarsha, would you have an idea?
There is no fixed release cadence for WooCommerce currently, but in general, the official supported plugin versions are n-2, so that is like latest, and 2 before it. So only the last 3 versions are the official supported plugin versions.
Got it. Thank you for clarifying that, Adarsha. All right, moving on to the next question. Do I need to claim my website manually? And I actually think that this is tied to a question that we got in the chat from Michael, who asked, does the WooCommerce plugin automatically claim your website?
I can take that one. So during the onboarding process, when you connect your account, the second step there is to claim the website. Like click the button on claim in WooCommerce to claim your website.
Got it. So just to clarify, it sounds like no, the Pinterest app for WooCommerce will enable you to claim your website automatically, right? So it's not a manual process.
Correct. It's not a manual process. If you go through the setup process, it should take care of it.
Perfect. Thank you.
And just to add on that, because typically, oh, yeah, sorry. But typically, once you set up your Pinterest account, it will automatically ask you, hey, like to manually claim your website. If you do have plans of using the integration, please skip that step because it can only be done the automatic way, not the manual way. But that's a good question.
Awesome. Thanks for the additional context, Moira. All right, so moving on to our next question. Can an agency accessing an account via Business Access install the Pinterest for WooCommerce app?
So agencies accessing the accounts via Business Access will not be able to install the plugin for Woo. Right now, only the owner of the account can do that.
Great, thanks, Moira. All right, so just responding to a question in the chat we will be sharing a full recording of this event in the community, and we'll also be including an FAQ article with all of our questions and answers. So I hope that helps, Isaac. All right, moving on here to our next question. I'm having connection issues with the Pinterest for WooCommerce plugin. What do I do?
So as Enoch mentioned earlier, if you have any other integrations, make sure you don't because that can mess up with the connection. If that is not the issue, if for example, like it's only WooCommerce on your end, but you're still having issues, please directly reach out to WooCommerce support. Jazz will also send the link on where you could reach out to them. But there's going to be some key informations that you will need to add. Uh, no need to take notes right now because it'll be shared again. But as mentioned earlier, make sure your plugin is up to date, and on that ticket, make sure you let them know, and add the domain of your store, your Pinterest username and email address. Screenshot, of course, is always helpful. And if it's also add the XML feed if you could get it. It's the area where Adarsha showed earlier, but maybe we could deep dive into that later. And also make sure to enable the debug logging. So maybe we can also go through that because it's also within WooCommerce and I don't have it handy right now. And yeah, those are what you need in the ticket. So as Jazz mentioned, it's all going to be shared again because it's a mouthful. It's a lot.
Yeah, we'll be sharing this step by step in our recap. So we'll be able to outline that for you. So if you're more visual like myself, you'll be able to follow those steps as well. All right, great. So moving on to our next question. And after this question, we'll be able to jump into some of the audience questions. So again, if you have any, please feel free to start dropping those in the Q&A chat. All right, so last question here. Is there a place where I can check existing or known issues with the plugin?
Yeah, so there's actually two places wherein you can check. Jess will also send in the link, but for those with no technical knowledge, this is the link. And for those with a more technical background, here's the link. So it's good to also, if you're encountering issues, it's also like a good practice to check these two links if there's any issue within the plugin or WooCommerce itself. But I'm not saying there's going to be issues. So just it's a good to know and it could be handy.
Yeah, thanks, Moira. Yeah, we're definitely not foreseeing any issues, but if there are, we do want you to have these links handy so that you're able to check. And like Moira mentioned, the WordPress link that we shared is for more of our non-technical folks like myself. And then we have the GitHub link, which if you're a little bit more technical, that's a great resource to have as well. All right. So I'll hand it over to Moira for a quick reminder about this partnership with WooCommerce.
Yeah, as a reminder, the plugin is a partnership with WooCommerce. So what happens is that any issues within WooCommerce UI or interface, we sent the link earlier, so please use that link to tell them your issue. However, if it's an issue within Ads Manager, say you're trying to run ads or it's not working, or there's any problems with the shop tab, that's going to be a support ticket for Pinterest. So just a friendly reminder, but that's it.
Thanks for that reminder, Moira. I think with this new integration, it's important to be clear on where you can expect Pinterest support versus where you should be directed to WooCommerce. So I'm going to go ahead right now and share that link that Moira just mentioned, where you can contact WooCommerce for any other additional questions that pertain to them. So sharing that link now, this will be super handy to keep. And we'll also make sure to include all of these links and resources in our post-event FAQ. All right, so without further ado, I know we have a couple of questions that came in through the chat. I want to go back specifically to, I believe it was Judith. So Judith was having an issue with the WooCommerce plugin. So she said, it appears not to be compatible with my version of WooCommerce. I have the most updated version of WooCommerce. So are there any just off the bat troubleshooting tips that we had for Judith?
I can take that one. So the official supported plugin versions, like I said, is the last three plugin versions. So currently it's a plugin version 1.0.11. So we support up to 1.0.9. So it's 9, 10, 11 are supported. For the specific question of like there should not be any such compatibility issues. If there are any, please raise a ticket, and we will look into it.
Okay, perfect. So would that be a ticket that Judith needs to raise with Pinterest or with WooCommerce?
This would be a ticket to raise with WooCommerce directly.
Okay, perfect. So, Judith, looks like that link that I just shared, it'll be best to go ahead. I know you had mentioned that you had an open ticket with Pinterest, so it sounds like this might be one that we need to go ahead and direct over to WooCommerce. And if you need any additional support, please feel free to ping me in the community, and I can help share any links or resources that you need. Awesome. All right, I'll give everyone just a couple more minutes, a last chance here if you want to ask any additional questions while we have our experts here. Please feel free to drop in your questions here in the chat. It's a great opportunity while we have Moira, Praneet, Enoch, and Adarsha here live.
Hi, am I able to ask a question?
Yes,
It's
feel free.
Judith.
Hi, Judith. Yeah,
Okay,
feel free.
great. Hi. I sent another message. I'm currently having to use another plugin in order to, create my catalog and create the feed to send, my products to Pinterest. That's working. But could that be the reason why I'm not able to successfully install the WooCommerce? Because is it could it be in competition with the one that I'm using, as an interim until I can get, the Pinterest one issue fixed?
Yeah, I can answer that. Like, I would definitely encourage like pausing the other plugin temporarily, and trying to use ours. Um, and specifically, when you pause that plugin, make sure you disable the integration that we have already had with the other plugin, and also deactivate any catalog sync that you might have set up on Pinterest side. Uh, and also, if that plugin also installs tags, so just be careful on that. You might also want to disable that. Um,
Yes, it does not install the tag, but it just helps to get my catalog feed to Pinterest. But let me make sure I have the steps. So I'm willing to disable that plugin for the sake of seeing if I can get the WooCommerce plugin working. But the steps are going to be, you said disable the plugin that I'm using, pause the feed that's currently active, and what was the other thing? There was a third thing you mentioned.
Yeah, so disconnect your account from the plugin, disable it in WordPress. So there is like you can like deactivate a plugin in WordPress. So
Right.
then third is like come to Pinterest.com, and in catalogs, disable that catalog.
Okay.
So those are the
Pause
three
it.
steps. Yeah.
That's a pause. When you say disable the catalog in Pinterest, you mean pause.
Yes, there is a
Okay.
there are active. Yeah, there's
Okay.
a toggle in Pinterest that you can turn on and off.
Okay. Okay. I'll try that. And if not, Jasmine, I will go to contact WooCommerce and see if there's an issue there.
Yeah,
Thank you.
definitely. Yeah, thank you so much for your question, Judith. I hope that this was also helpful to the rest of the group. I'm sure others are experiencing this issue, so appreciate you bringing this up to us. All right, and then I see we have another question here from Janelle. She said, on my Pinterest dashboard side, I'm showing my tag is unhealthy because of the add to cart and checkout tags are installed. Is that an automatic integration or manual? And team, please let me know if this is something separate from WooCommerce that we'll need to direct to a ticket, or if this is something we can answer.
I can take it.
Go
Okay.
ahead,
Yeah. So we can't really know for sure unless we check the account if it's automatic or the manual tag. So it might be best to file a ticket with us to confirm from where it's coming from. And if
Okay.
Adarsha, if you have anything to add.
Yeah, I would say there are a few basic troubleshooting steps. There is a Chrome plugin called Pinterest Tag Helper. I would first install that plugin and see if that plugin notices any errors. Um, Second is that ensure there are not other plugins which are sending tag related events to Pinterest. Um, yeah, those are the two things I would check before filing a ticket.
And if I can add on to the last attendee's comment, that's my Pinterest tag is installed. The issue I'm having is the same issue that the last attendee just mentioned, and that is I'm coming up with these errors as well. And it says my catalog is healthy. It kicked me out of the verified merchant program and everything. So
yeah, it's definitely part of my process to get on the verified merchant program. And yeah, my catalog's healthy. Everything else is fine. I don't believe I have any conflicting plugins installed that would be interfering. My one thing, because is this WooCommerce, and how new is the WooCommerce integration? Because I feel like I installed the Pinterest for WooCommerce back in September.
I would
definitely
update
update
the
the
plugin because
there
there
has
have
been
been
a
a lot
lot
of
of
improvements.
improvement.
I actually even uninstalled it and reinstalled it recently.
I did the same.
same.
I did the same thing.
thing.
And
Mhm.
but
And
then
but then
it just went
went
wacky.
wacky.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't believe that the add to cart and checkout were ever. So I'm wondering if I added the plugin back in September, if the integration wasn't complete, because I recall having my the woman that was helping me set up my WooCommerce website install the tag manually.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
so
stepping
stepping
in
in
here
here
to
to
clarify,
clarify,
the
the
WooCommerce
WooCommerce
integration just
just
GA,
GA,
correct,
correct,
Mara?
Mara?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just last
last week.
Okay. So it could be a conflict between her installing the tag manually and the processes that are trying to happen on the automatic integration, perhaps.
I would say
I would say it's
because whenever
because
there's
whenever
a
the
tag,
tag, it will
automation.
automation.
Sorry,
Sorry,
Moy,
Moy.
repeat
Yeah,
that.
that broke.
We seem to be having some audio issues. I'm not sure if whoever's not speaking, if we could just stay muted. I think there's some feedback issues. Sorry about that.
Okay, is this better? Okay, perfect. So as I was saying, if there's any manual tag, it could definitely mess with the automation, the automatic integrated tag from either WooCommerce.
Yeah,
Yeah, what?
one more step I would add is install the Pinterest tag helper and then go and then look at your add to cart and checkout events and see if they are getting fired and if you see any duplicate error issues. And lastly, WooCommerce as a platform has a lot of plugins for add to cart and checkouts like thank you pages and such. If they have installed a different plugin alongside to help you in add to cart and checkout, that's something to mention if you open a support ticket.
Okay, great. I think that gave me a couple spots to troubleshoot at, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Janelle, for your question, and Judith as well. Appreciate you. And let us know if we can support. Like I mentioned, the Pinterest business community is where you can find us. So if you have additional questions or anything, you can reach out to us, or you can also reach out to WooCommerce to help troubleshoot. All right, so it looks like we don't have any additional questions. Let's see
I
here.
had a question.
Oh, perfect. Hi, Yvette. Yeah, feel free to go ahead and
Hi.
ask your question.
Yeah, I have the WooCommerce Pinterest installed, but it keeps uninstalling like every month. And I wanted to know am I required to run ads in order to keep it installed? has a verified merchant, or is this something that it just randomly does?
No, that should not happen. Buying ads is in no way connected to keeping your tags installed. If there's any error, please file a ticket first to WooCommerce, who will redirect it to us if there's any technical errors.
Thank you so much, Adarsha. And Yvette, I added the WooCommerce contact link here. And I also added the Pinterest one, but it sounds like you'll need to start with WooCommerce. And then if they're not able to figure that out, which it sounds like it should not be happening, you can also direct your question to us. But let's start with WooCommerce. All right. Well, it looks like we don't have any additional questions in the chat. Thank you so much, all for asking these great questions. Yvette, please feel free to reach out in the Pinterest business community as well if you have any additional questions. All right, so somebody's asking here. We have one more question coming from Martine. Feel free to unmute.
Yeah, sorry, Jasmine. I'm from the Netherlands, and the time was not set right, so I missed the complete webinar. Is there a recording, or is there a link being? Okay, I see people
Yeah.
nodding yes, because it's oh my god, it's not. So here it's a quarter to 11. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no problem. Thank you for asking. Yeah. So we're going to be sharing a full recording. The recording doesn't expire, so you can watch it at your leisure. And we'll also be creating an article with all of the questions that were asked. So if you missed any of the questions and answers, you'll have that documentation as well. Yeah. So sorry that you weren't able to join us.
No, it's I tried to work around with some app, but it didn't work, obviously. So thank you very much.
Yeah, of course. And thank you for joining us.
And it looks like going forward that before installing Pinterest for WooCommerce or WooCommerce for Pinterest or Pinterest for WooCommerce, the best thing to do is not to install anything else that has to do with Pinterest. Just allow this plugin to do it all for you, and that's probably what I should have done at the very beginning.
Yeah, I see our team nodding their heads. So yes, Judith, that sounds like the right approach. All right, so I'm looking through here. It looks like we've answered all of the questions. So lastly, I just want to thank you all so much for joining us today. This was really helpful just to be able to connect with you all and connect you with our Pinterest experts here in our team. So thank you for joining us during this event. We hope that you found this event helpful, and we look forward to covering more topics in our next event. So please stay tuned. If you haven't already joined our business chapter here on Bevy, please make sure to do so that you can stay up to date on all of our events coming your way. And after this event, you'll also be receiving a post-event survey. So please fill out that survey to let us know how we can improve our events. If you're finding these events helpful, if you want to see more of them, our team would just love to hear your feedback, because these events, after all, they're for you. So we want to make sure you're getting the most out of them. And we want to make sure that you're being successful on Pinterest. So thank you again for being here, and you can catch the recap and recording of this event on the Pinterest business community next week. So make sure to check back in. We'll be sharing an email announcement as well once that goes out. So if you're a Bevy chapter member, you'll automatically receive those updates. All right, so that is all we have for you today, folks. Thanks again to Moira, Praneet, Adarsha, and Enoch from our team for hosting and being here with us today. So round of applause for them. Thank you all so much. All right, well, bye everyone. We'll see you at our next event.